Most people know of Mystic, Connecticut because of Mystic Pizza, but what if I told you there was another restaurant that's worth the trip? The Shipwright's Daughter is widely regarded as the best restaurant in Mystic, Connecticut, and the only restaurant in Connecticut to make the New York Times Best Restaurants in America list in 2024. So I arrived on a Sunday afternoon to see if the restaurant was really worth the hype. While looking over the menu, I decided to order the seasonal mimosa, which was blackcurrant and kava. While I would have preferred a little bit less juice and a little more kava, this was a very interesting take on a mimosa and a nice way to start the meal. The menu had a nice selection of brunch items, toast, small snacks, and sweets, so I decided to get started. I started out with a smoked clam dip with Old Bay chips and Espelette pepper, and the crispy fried oysters with the sesame chili aioli. First, let's start with the clam dip. The chips were really the star of the show. They were extremely crispy. You could tell they were homemade. I could have probably eaten 12 or 13 bowls of those chips. And the dip was extra creamy. It was almost like a sour cream and onion dip, but instead it had clams in it. Now let's talk about the fried oysters. They came beautifully presented on a bed of salt. These oysters were amazing. Crispy, briny, slightly spicy from the chili aioli. I could have eaten the entire plate. I would say if you're trying to choose between the clam dip and the oysters, go with the oysters. The clam dip was delicious, but there was something really special about that oyster dish that made me want so many more. Now let's move on to my main course, which was the Eggs Benedict, which I got with gravlax. The interesting part about this Eggs Benedict was that instead of being served on an English muffin, it was served on a buttermilk biscuit, which I thought was a really interesting touch. I had some pros and cons with this dish. Let's start with the pros. The egg was perfectly cooked, which really is an ode to how fresh it was, and the hollandaise was buttery and delicious. The egg being served on a biscuit was more of a mixed bag for me. Although the biscuit was delicious, fluffy, succulent, I could have eaten it all by itself. It felt almost too heavy to be on an Eggs Benedict, and I found myself getting very full very quickly. I think the richness of the biscuit, the hollandaise, and the egg might have been a little too rich for one dish. Along with my Eggs Benedict, we also ordered a burger, which came with 2 patties and cheese and pickles on the side. This is one of the better burgers I've tasted out, honestly. It was very juicy, the bread was nice and soft, and that's something I would definitely order again. One nice aspect about this was that there was a little bit of arugula, which helped to cut some of the immense richness of the burger, so that was a really enjoyable part. At the end of the meal, the check came in a notebook where you're encouraged to write notes about your experience, which of course I wrote a very nice one because overall this is a really enjoyable meal. The final bill came to about $123, and keep in mind there is a 3% service charge, which does not include your gratuities. Overall, I had a really positive experience at the Shipwright's Daughter. I'd love to go back for dinner to try something new on the menu, and until then, I'll see you at the next restaurant.